What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again. And today we're going to talk a little Colin Kaepernick and we're going to talk some XFL. So I hope you're excited for it. If it's your first time here, hey, I'm glad to have you. If you're a return viewer, thanks for coming back and thanks for watching more videos. And if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. All right, let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and look into the content. Let's get into the content that we have for today. So pretty much what we have right now is that I've had kind of some guys ask me what my thoughts were about the Colin Kaepernick situation. So I figured I'd take a couple moments and we would look into that. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about the whole Kaepernick thing. I know I've had a couple of you guys who've asked me my thoughts on the Kaepernick kind of situation and everything that's been going on. So I'm going to go ahead and take a couple moments and I'm going to comment on, the Colin Kaepernick situation and all that that we've seen so far with what was going on. So to kind of catch you up to speed, if you haven't been following, pretty much Colin Kaepernick had a workout or tryout, and there were 8 NFL teams that showed up. They, had the workout, and he threw the ball. I watched the video, at least, that, they had released and the information that was there. It really doesn't change what I thought before. I thought he was maybe a lower tier starting quarterback by his throwing ability, and definitely a guy that I could see being possibly on a roster as a backup, but I didn't see really anything special there that would set him apart and really change anything. So let's go ahead and let's go back before the whole kneeling thing, even began. Kaepernick was a guy that was playing really well in the NFL. Then it just seems like the NFL caught up to him. And what do I mean by that? Like, he had a really good season, and then you could tell that they were starting to game plan for him, and the defenses were starting to scheme for him. And what happened is they really exposed, those tendencies and those issues and those weak points in his game. And he never really adapted. So what happened was he ended up on the bench. And that's where, he was when the whole kneeling thing started and all of that issue. So, the thing that we have here is it's a whole interesting situation all the way around. Like I said, I don't think there's really only about a handful of teams that he might even be able to start for in the league. Granted, he threw the ball well, but it's one thing when you're throwing the ball and you're standing there, nobody in front of you, no line, nobody coming at you to hit you, and there's no defenders covering the wide receivers. It's a totally different game. The guy still definitely has all of, the ability that he had there before is still there. But when I look at it, there might be a handful of teams that he maybe could start for, and there are, I would say that he would be a guy that they would possibly pick up as a backup. He's kind of one of those guys that I see teams kind of like what happened with Cardale Jones and, some of these kind of other guys like a JT Barrett or something like that. A guy that is out there that, is competent, but he's not really good enough that you really want him on your roster, so you just sign him to your practice roster so that if you need to call him up for a backup situation because your starting quarterback gets hurt, that you've got a guy that knows your system, that you can throw him in there if you need him in an emergency. And that's pretty much what I see with him. I don't really see much more than that. And in the scheme of things, in the landscape of it, I just don't think that the NFL for the past 3 years wanted to take that big of a risk on him and really have all the circus that comes with Colin Kaepernick. So I say circus. Let's talk about that circus, because I really don't think that he even really is wanting to play again. I think that this is kind of a show. And, they're putting on this show and kind of, taking this, kind of moving it on down the road and really doing that because just with the way that he's done things for the past 3 years. And if you listen to his interview, the way that he talks, he keeps saying we. We, haven't, been doing this. We have been doing this. We have been doing this. And I mean, I guess you could say, he's got a team of people that he's working with, his agent, other people. But he talks about, like, we've been denied, for 3 years and all this. And it's like, you can definitely tell that he is kind of changed and morphed into not necessarily a football player and more into, this kind of symbol and this guy heading up a movement. And I just don't think that he really is wanting to play, and his mind really isn't there. The NFL, like it or not, the way that they are, and they're all about their bottom line and keeping themselves, safe where they're at. They don't want to make any political stands on things. They want to kind of, as best they can, remain neutral. And Kaepernick is a polarizing individual for them, whether you agree with all the stuff he's done or whether you're not with him at all. It seems to be people fall on one side or the other. So that the NFL makes a specific stance on him or does anything with him, that they're going to get backlash from one or both of the camps. And so for them just to not even really touch him is probably best for them, because the fact of the matter is if it's like with Antonio Brown. He got chance after chance after chance after chance after chance, and it just got so much that they didn't bring the guy back in. Why? Because they couldn't deal with that much anymore. If Colin Kaepernick was at that level of talent, he would be on a team in a heartbeat. But his risk to value is, risk to value equation is not high enough for them to take the risk on having him and hurting their brand. The whole kneeling thing, whether you're with it or you're against the whole kneeling thing, the NFL took a hit with the whole kneeling thing. They took a hit with that, with their viewership, with their sales, with people going to the stadiums. They lost granted, it might not seem like a lot to us, out here when you're looking at, possibly 10% of your sales or whatever. That's a lot, especially with a company that had been continually growing exponentially every year. And so for them to get themselves in a situation like that again, I don't think they're really wanting to do that. And again, I don't think that Kaepernick's really serious about going back into football. I think that this is really, kind of part of the whole movement and getting them moving forward. And I think it really is, kind of this monster that's going on down the road, and he's in it for the long haul. So this is kind of what he needs to do, because that's how he's making his money right now. Whether it be, it's pretty much his endorsements that he's getting from Nike and other places, and that's where he's getting his money, and it's all wrapped up in this movement that he's created, right or wrong. So that's kind of my thoughts with him. I don't think that he's going to end up on any of these NFL teams. I don't think he's serious really about playing. His mindset is not in playing. Like I said, his mindset is in this like movement and this we thing, and being this kind of symbol for this movement. And I don't think that he's really ready to do that. So that translates into, what do I think about him with the XFL? I don't think that he's that one, I don't think the XFL wants him, and two, I don't think that he wants to be in the XFL. Will the XFL pay him enough money? Is it, like I said, I think he's, in his mind, he's moved on from football. I think that this is just kind of all part of kind of, the kind of showing the dance and, that back and forth with that, to where, the XFL, it's not going to happen. They're not even going to talk about it. It has nothing to really do with money in that aspect, whether or not they'd pay him the money. The XFL doesn't want anything to do with that, and really Kaepernick really doesn't want anything to do with them. Just like I don't think that he really wants to get back into playing in the NFL. I just think that it's right now it's kind of one of those things that they've kind of got to go through with their movement of things. But who knows? A team might call him up, and he might be suiting up on Thursday. I don't know. I highly doubt it, though. There was only 8 teams that showed up. And the fact of the matter is that we've heard from different places that he's had possibly up to 4 offers from NFL teams to come and play, and he's turned them all down. For what reasons? I don't know. But multiple sources have come out and said that he's received offers from teams and he's turned them down. I don't know. That's just kind of my thoughts on Kaepernick. And so before we go into kind of the last little bit that I want to do for today, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go into our featured comment. And remember, guys, I want to hear from you. I want to know what you think down in the comment section. And if you have a fun comment or something I didn't think of, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to feature that. And that's what we're doing today. Chris Evans, go ahead and he left a comment, and he says, when it comes to add expansion teams, they really need to look at the Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Kentucky area to place a team. That area is huge for football, and people would drive every week to go see a team in that area. And Chris, I totally agree with you. I think that for me personally, that's one of the hardest things for me. That is my region, that's my area, and it's hard for me to really latch on to an XFL team right now, because what happens in 2-3 years down the road, if they do have a team, if a team does come to Columbus, or they get a team in Cleveland or Indianapolis or Detroit, something, or a Louisville, something like that, and so now I've kind of invested in this team, and now I got a team in my area, and so and now they're in the same division, and how do I do that? Because I've got all this gear, and now they're my team now too, and so I've got these 2 teams. I totally agree with you, Chris, and I really appreciate the information, and I really appreciate you commenting and engaging. Well, guys, that's all I have really for today. I know it was a lot of information, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments section what you guys think, and we'll definitely continue the conversation there. All right, well, I know that you're busy, and I know that I'm busy, so let's get on out of here. You have a good night. Bye.